Hi, and welcome back to our podcast. Today we will be talking about the differences between Arrow the TV show and Green Arrow the comics. To begin, we will be talking about the differences between Roy Harper. In the comics, Roy is a naturally gifted archer. He idolizes Green Arrow and seeks to be mentored under him. Eventually, Oliver adopts Roy and gives him the super name Speedy. Roy, however, has a drug problem, which leads Oliver Queen to angrily throw him out and causes the two to go their separate ways. Roy then makes his own name, called Arsenal, when he decides to carry more weapons than just a bow around. He later joins Teen Titans as one of the founding members. On the show, Roy is a street urchin who is a gifted fighter and is really good at acrobats. Roy and Oliver's sister Thea become a couple. Roy idolizes Green Arrow and tries to help him out, but Oliver keeps him at arm's distance because of his involvement with Thea. And eventually, when Roy gets kidnapped and mutated by Oliver's nemesis Deathstroke, Oliver realizes that he has to train Roy in order to become a better fighter, and eventually becomes his sidekick. Oliver gives him the secret identity of Arsenal, but when Oliver's secret identity is almost revealed to the public, Roy takes the fall for his mentor, and the two split ways, and Roy lives his life in secrecy. Second, we'll be discussing the differences between the bows that, like the ways that Oliver Queen discovers his use for the bow in both the comics and the show. In the comics, Oliver idolizes Robin Hood. Oliver was also a very naturally gifted archer and always used to practice as a child. Later on, when Oliver is thrown off of his boat and stranded on Starfish Island, he has to use his bow to hunt and basically survive. Oliver then, when he comes back to Star City, decides that he wants to use the bow in order to take out criminals because it's what he knows best. And it also brings him back to his idolization of Robin Hood. On the show, however, there's no mention of Oliver idolizing Robin Hood, and Oliver never used a bow before he was stranded on the island Lian-Yu. When he gets stranded there, a mentor teaches him how to use a bow and arrow because it teaches Oliver patience and that to become a better warrior. Eventually, on his missions on the island and in different places, he uses the bow and sharpens his skills, which eventually make him into a very good archer. Third, we'll be discussing the Oliver killing. Now, Oliver killing in the comics is very different than the Oliver killing on the show. In the comics, Oliver never really killed when he was a hero. In the beginning, he always used to target bad guys on the shoulders or legs just to immobilize them so that he can arrest them. But one time, he accidentally took a step too far and shot a criminal in the chest, instantly killing him. This really devastated Oliver, and he went into exile for a while to try and reconsider his life. Later on down the road, though, Oliver discovered that sometimes he needed to kill his enemies in order to put them down for good. And it went as far as him just getting really, really devoured by it. He started killing people for no reason other than they were a criminal. At one point, he went after someone for destroying Star City, and instead of defeating them like a normal superhero would, he was very hell-bent on killing the person. On the show, Oliver started out as a killer and then turned into a person that didn't want to kill. When he was on the island, Oliver is trained not only to survive, but to kill to survive. And when he came back to Star City, that was the only thing he knew. The entire first season of Arrow was Oliver straight up killing all of his enemies. And then later down the road, he discovered that he was losing his soul. So in order to preserve himself, he tried to, not kill. But on the show, Oliver, whenever he needs to, he always goes back to killing in order to put really bad guys down. Lastly, we'll discuss about Thea. Um, Thea in the comics is known as Mia, and she is the second Speedy. The first Speedy was actually Roy Harper before he made his own name of Arsenal. So Mia was this street girl that had a really bad drug problem and was into prostitution until Oliver saved her. Oliver saved her, and eventually she developed a crush on Oliver and tried training to use the bow and arrow in order to impress him, which did, and then Oliver let her join his crusade and gave her the nickname of Speedy. Now, as Speedy, she was always by Oliver's side and supported him no matter what. Even when Oliver went on killing sprees and wanted to kill the man who destroyed half of Star City, she was the only other person that supported him. And that was a big deal because all of his other friends didn't. On the show, Speedy is his sister Mia. His sister Thea. On the show, his sister also had a drug problem, and she was a very messed up kid. But eventually, she came to terms with it. She came to terms with it when she found out that Merlin, one of Green Arrow's arch nemesis, was actually her father, and she asked him for training to make her stronger. After all the training, she became stronger, and she realized that the world wasn't exactly the way she knew it, especially after Oliver told her that he was the Green Arrow. Now, instead of the rest of the members on the show freaking out when they heard that Oliver was the Green Arrow, she was really supportive, which is kind of a link to the comic Speedy, because she was always by Oliver's side and always supportive of what he was doing. She initially wanted the name of Red Arrow, but since Roy Harper was generally associated with the Red Arrow title, Oliver instead gave her the title of Thea because it was also a family nickname that they gave to Thea when she was younger. The suit she got was from Roy when he eventually left after he took the fall for Green Arrow. He gave her the suit and told her that she would do better as Oliver's sidekick than he would. And that's how she acquired her Speedy suit. Now, these are just a couple of examples of how the Arrow show is different from the actual Green Arrow comics. Let us know what else you guys have noticed between the show and the comics, and comment below. Thank you for tuning in.